How you doing, everybody? This is Jesse, aka Drackbolt. I am the developer of Dune 2: The Golden Path. I have no affiliation with the original Dune 2 game created by Westwood Studios many years ago, but this remake is a free project, although because it uses intellectual property from the original game, you need to own a copy of Dune 2. Um, but it is freely available. It's not open source because it's based on some other things I'm going to be using later, but anyone can download this and play it. It's based around multiplayer content. There are other remakes out there that I think do a really good job of focusing on the single player campaigns, recreating those. So this is my version is entirely based on a really rich multiplayer experience. It can be really fast paced. There are a lot of options, and it's pretty good. It's very much strategy based. There's not a whole lot of micro you can do, but some amount of micro definitely does help a little bit. So right now I'm going to be joining a network game and trying to cast it, going into the network here, and as soon as I see a server available, this game will be between Puxii, aka Frontliner, and another new player called Hohli. We'll see what happens between them. Puxii is a macro uh, master. He will try to steamroll everyone. He will just build up an enormous economy and try to throw everything he has. Now that does mean that he's very vulnerable to things that take advantage of his total lack of. Hold on a second. Let me chat a little bit. We do have a Steam group. Just to segue real quick. Steam group is called Dune 2: The Golden Path, and you can add this as a non-Steam game to it. So this is focused on multiplayer, and gonna start a game here with Puxii. Puxii is a macro player. He is very vulnerable to situations where you try to force him to micro because he just doesn't pay a lot of attention to that. So I'm a little bit familiar with his tactics, but I don't know Hohli at all. So we'll see what happens. We have everybody in here. Um, Dune 2 fan is actually Hohli. He just didn't go into his options screen and change his name, but we'll give him full credit. So I am set to observer. Puxii is hosting, so he's going to be setting up the map size and the other factors involved. My feeling is he's probably going to choose 96 by 96 map, and we'll go full unit cap and full starting credits and starting units. So let's see if we can get started. I apologize for the low video quality. I'm sure it's probably going to be grainy because I'm using Snagit, which is not great video recording software, but I was trying to use Cam Studio, and on Windows 7 64 it seems to have some problems or something. So so um, I wasn't able to do that. Last time I tried to cast a game, the quality was good, but unfortunately it crashed right at the end of the game before I could even hit stop and get the thing compressed and fixed up. So it just totally bombed out. So, Frontliner, as I would kind of expect, I believe is going Harkonnen. You know, I didn't even see. Hold on, let me ask. I didn't even pay attention to who is who. Who is Atreides? Boy, I'm really doing a great job casting so far. I have no idea who Atreides. Okay, yeah. So, Puxii is Harkonnen, which I would have expected. Here's Puxii. Here is um, Holy. He is Atreides, and he's getting a bit of a slow start here. Now, because I'm the observer, I automatically have full map visibility, but he's actually working within a very restricted sight radius. So he's doing a lot of exploring right now. So I think he's settled on this area to start building his base in. There's a fair amount of space in there, and he can make use of these on the outside a little bit if he's smart about placing walls and turrets. So Puxii is scouting. You see, he's just skirting around that quad. He probably has visibility from there. Aside from that, the rest of this map is basically black to them. Now, the way the map system is set up here is essentially the same as the original game, where once you explore something, you get permanent visibility of it. But there are sandstorms that happen at random every once in a while. When a sandstorm happens, it resets all the visibility on the map. So you do still need to keep scouting. Oh, he took a shot from the con yard there. You do still need to keep scouting, and so it is very important. It just works a little bit differently than other RTS games like StarCraft or what have you. So here's Puxii. He's going to lose that flak trike, yeah, because normally if you give move orders, your units take extra damage. My game is built sort of like if you ever played Axis and Allies from the past, the remake of Axis and Allies, I think it was in 2005, somewhere around there. It had some really unique features, and some of the things I liked the best about it were that um, basically your option once you got into combat was either stay in combat or retreat. And I mean like retreat as in route. So basically the way my game works is when one of your guys gets locked into combat, he's not able to just take a move order and run straight into the enemy. You can do that, but it's suicidal. He'll automatically take a lot of extra damage. So you don't want to give move orders into the enemy. You want to give attack orders into the enemy. That makes it a little tougher to scout the insides of bases. You can't just, take a trike and run it straight in and just absorb a bunch of damage and then get to see everything that's there. That seems totally unrealistic to me. So you got to be a little more creative. So let's see. Yeah, here comes the macro. Puxii is getting out. This is probably another refinery right here, and he's dumping out his carryalls probably as soon as possible because he has a lot of favor in those carryalls. I don't think he's going to attack here. It looks like he's just doing a little more scouting. Maybe try to harass a harvester. And looks like having a little power issue there, but we got our wind trap back up. So Hohli is definitely playing a little slow. He's going to fall behind pretty fast. He's probably not a very new player. Probably not a very seasoned player, rather. He's probably a little bit new at this. And I guess he had the old version 1.7, and we're already on version 1.096. So he's I don't think he's looked at this in a while. So we'll see what happens. I'm pretty sure that Puxii's going to end up steamrolling him at this point. That's kind of obvious, but hopefully we can demonstrate some of the playability here. One thing to note about any kind of production uh, facility, like a refinery here that can create harvesters, is they don't use waypoints. They don't use systems that you might be familiar with from other RTS systems. My game actually uses a queue system where you select a production building. Like if I wanted to, I could select this light vehicle factory here, this heavy vehicle factory, and then I can choose what unit I want to drop, and then I can just place that unit on the map here somewhere, and it'll become a queue, and it'll stay there kind of half visible, and it'll start building when it's able to, and when the unit is finished, it will leave that factory and go to that queue location. So it's really neat, and you use the function keys F1, F2, F3, etc. to select the buildings automatically from afar. So say you're over here exploring the other side of the map, you can hit F3 to select your light vehicle factory. No, F4 is your light vehicle factory, and then you could just switch through on the menu system over here, or use the scroll mouse up and down to choose a unit you want to drop, and then just click a bunch of times to drop some queues. When they're done, they'll just go there on their own. So it's really convenient. Puxii is still content to do some scouting. Here's a worm. Worm sign only happens every once in a while, and when it comes on, it stays on for a couple of minutes. See, there's Puxii's lack of micro again, just sending somebody right into die. He's like I say, he just he doesn't pay a lot of attention to individual units, but he doesn't really need to either. That was a demolition, I believe. And he just put them in the wrong place and then destroyed it to make room for it. All right, so Hohli's not doing too bad. He's got a carryall. He's got at least one carryall out, and he's got a couple of harvesting operations. Let me see what Puxii's doing. Puxii is still macroing up his economy. He's definitely a big fan of getting a huge economy. I've seen many times where he just essentially like in StarCraft 2, when you end up building way too many drones and your income is just really high and you don't even have the production buildings or the unit cap or or the availability to use all that money. So he always ends up with a large surplus of money. So we'll see how he does here. Hohli's still doing all right. He's going for tech. Puxii got tech a while back. The House of X allows you to upgrade a lot of different things. The upgrades in my game, again, they work differently from other games. My upgrades, they involve no build time. Basically, you just spend a certain amount of money and you get the upgrade. Some of the upgrades include being able to build at longer distances, um, making your infantry, giving still suits from Dune lore to your infantry to improve their healing rate and to make them run faster. The ability to produce newer kinds of units, such as building quads from your light vehicle factory, being able to see pre-spiced masses, which is one right here that I just saw blow up. I don't see the spice generated by it. That may be a little glitch or something, just a little visual glitch from my end. But there is spice here that was generated from the spice blow, and there will be from here as well when that spice blow goes. So let's see. Puxii is still not really turning out many units yet. He's just harvesting, probably buying another carryall or two. And there goes some more macro. Alright, this might be the heavy vehicle push. We'll see what happens here. I would not be surprised at all if these were all heavy vehicle factories. Meanwhile, Hohli's building up a little static defense, some rocket turrets. Rocket turrets were nerfed a little bit recently. I took away their homing ability because they were just a bit too strong against every possible opponent. And even though they required a lot of power to run, they just ended up being overpowered. It was really too much. So here's the queues that I was talking about. You can see that Hohli placed a few queues, and that's all he had to do. He threw the queues down and then just walked away. So now when they're done being produced at the factory, his credits slowly drain while they're being produced, and then when they're done, they go right out here where he wants them. At the outpost, oh, hold on, there's some combat going on. There's some infantry hiding in the crags here. Okay, now they're leaving. He might be retreating them or something. There's no point in doing that, though. He should just stay there. Yeah, infantry take much more damage to kill when they're inside crags, and they're also invisible to opponents, to enemies. That's why he didn't show up there. And to go back to worm sign real quick, worm sign happens every once in a while, and it stays on for a couple of minutes, and during that time, you really don't want to go cross the sand at all. You just don't even want to go near it because it is very, very likely you'll attract at least one worm. I mean, you can see it over here. So if you don't have carryalls, you don't even want to harvest because even though harvesters attract worms at a lower rate than other units, just to kind of make things easier, even if that doesn't make a lot of sense, they still do attract worms fairly easily. So you have to have carryalls if you want to maintain harvesting operations during worm sign. And otherwise, worm sign is just, it's basically a deterrent. While it's on, you don't want to cross the sand at all. So basically, it just, it slows down a lot of things for a little while. It's also the only time that when the worms are dormant is the only time when you'll ever see pre-spice masses and spice blows create new spice to put on the map. So while the worms are there, it's just kind of a little pause in the action to try and deter people from each other. Um, there are different kind of alliances you can have in the game, and one of the factions you can ally with is the Fremen, and they will actually just remove the whole threat of the worm sign for you personally. So during worm sign, you'll be able to just range across the map, which gives you a little surprise attack option if your opponent isn't expecting an attack during that time. So worm sign basically worm sign is over now. It's gone, and he's able to move freely again. Of course, when worm sign is active, you can still use carryalls to airlift your people from one part of a rock to another. You can see some of these queues that he's placed are still here. That one's almost finished. You can see they go from fully transparent to more and more solid as they get closer to completion. So as soon as he has the money to finish what he's doing, these queues will complete. Right now, he needs more power. He needs to put a wind trap right here or something badly. All right, a little bit of harassment going on Puxii.